The last thing I heard before they shoved me off that cliff was my own sister's laugh. "Don't worry," she said. "No body, no crime." But here's the thing about betrayal. It only works if the victim stays dead. The Carter family didn't just have money. We were money. Old, polished, the kind of wealth that didn't scream but whispered in silk and marble. Our brownstone on Manhattan's Upper East Side wasn't a home. It was a stage. And every single one of us played our parts flawlessly. I was Emily Carter, 28, the quiet one, the daughter who preferred dusty law books to champagne brunches. My father, Richard Carter, was a titan of finance, a man who could silence a room with a glance. He didn't speak often, but when he did, Wall Street leaned in. Then there was Victoria, stepmother, socialite, professional ice sculpture. She'd slithered into our lives 5 years ago after my mother's unfortunate accident, a phrase the family used like it was a euphemism for a delayed flight, not a headfirst plunge down our spiral staircase. And Amanda, my half-sister, blonde, vicious, and genetically engineered to smirk. She was Victoria's carbon copy, right down to the way they both looked at me like I was a stain on their designer rug. "Emily, darling." Victoria purred at breakfast the morning of the will reading, her red nails tapping her coffee cup. "Do try to eat something. You're looking frail." Amanda snorted into her avocado toast. "Probably stress. I heard the firm's cutting junior associates. What's your backup plan? Dog walking?" I smiled sweetly. "Better than your plan. Marrying a hedge fund manager before he realizes you're allergic to prenups." The dining room went silent. That was our dynamic. Needle-sharp jabs wrapped in velvet. But today wasn't about our usual skirmishes. Today we'd find out who Dad really loved. The lawyer's office smelled like leather and lies. Victoria sat ramrod straight, her Chanel suit worth more than my law school debt. Amanda kept checking her reflection in the window. And me? I clutched the key I'd found taped under Dad's desk drawer 2 nights ago, the one labeled, "For E," when they show their teeth. Then the lawyer cleared his throat. "To my beloved wife Victoria," he read, "I leave my collection of modern art." Victoria's smile froze. The collection was impressive, but not liquid, not power. Amanda got the Hamptons house. And then, to my daughter Emily, I bequeath my entire controlling stake in Carter Holdings, my real estate portfolio, and the majority of my liquid assets. The air left the room. Amanda's chair screeched. "That's a mistake." Victoria didn't blink. Richard would never. But the will was clear, and so was the look in their eyes when they turned to me. Not grief, calculation. Amanda texted me 3 days after the will reading. "Family hike this weekend, upstate. No lawyers, no drama, just us." I stared at the message, thumb hovering over the screen. Since when did Amanda suggest anything involving fresh air and effort? The last time we'd bonded, she'd accidentally spilled red wine on my white Valentino dress at a charity gala and whispered, "Oops, guess you'll always be the messy one." But Dad's funeral was still a raw wound, and part of me, the stupid, hopeful part, wondered if maybe, just maybe, blood still meant something. I should have known better. The drive upstate. Victoria's black Escalade smelled like her signature perfume, jasmine noir, with undertones of deceit. She drove while Amanda shotgun queened it, scrolling through her phone with one hand and critiquing my life choices with the other. "You do realize Dad only left you control because he felt guilty, right?" She didn't look up from her screen. Poor motherless Emily. The charity case. I watched the trees blur past. "Funny. The charity case now signs your trust fund checks." Victoria's grip tightened on the wheel. "Girls, let's not ruin the day." The GPS led us deeper into the Adirondacks, where the roads narrowed and the cell service died. Bear Cliff Trail was postcard perfect. Golden leaves, crisp air, the kind of place influencers staged fake candid shots. But the higher we climbed, the more the pit in my stomach grew. Amanda was never this chatty. Remember when we were kids? She fake laughed, adjusting her designer hiking boots. You used to follow me everywhere, so loyal. I wiped sweat from my brow. And you used to ditch me in department stores. Victoria snapped a photo of the view. Let's get a shot by the overlook. Emily, stand here. She herded me toward the cliff's edge. The rocks crumbled under my sneakers. That's when I noticed Amanda wasn't smiling anymore. Wait. I turned just as Amanda's hand slammed into my chest. For a split second, I saw it all. Victoria's cold nod. Amanda's widened eyes. Not with guilt, but excitement. The way their shadows swallowed me whole as I fell backward. Then nothing but wind and the sickening crack of branches. Somewhere above me, Amanda's voice floated down. Don't worry. No body. No crime. I came to in waves. First the smell of damp earth and iron, then the white-hot pain radiating from my left leg. My vision swam into focus on a jagged bone protruding through my hiking pants. Oh, God. Oh, God. Above me, the cliff face loomed, impossibly high. No shouts, no search party. Just the distant caw of a crow, like death laughing. They'd left me for dead. And that's when the fear burned away, leaving something colder in its place. Fine. Let them think I'm dead. It took 3 hours to drag myself to the road. 3 hours of biting down screams, of using tree roots as crutches, of vomiting from pain behind a moss-covered log when I reset my own dislocated shoulder. A trucker found me at dusk. Jesus, lady. He leapt from his cab, boots kicking up gravel. You look like... Car accident. I rasped through split lips. No phone. No ID. The lie came easily. After a lifetime with the Carters, deception was my mother tongue. At the rural ER, they listed me as Jane Doe. The nurse frowned at my injuries. These don't look like crash wounds. Rolled down a ravine. I forced tears. My husband did this. Sympathy won. They didn't run my fingerprints. While morphine dulled the edges, I plotted, stay dead. Amanda would be monitoring missing person reports. Find leverage. The key from Dad's desk burned in my pocket. Bleed them dry. Starting with the offshore accounts only I knew existed. I checked into a no-tell motel near Albany using cash from the trucker's pity tip. The room smelled of mildew and bad decisions. Perfect. The key opened a safety deposit box at First National. Inside, a USB drive labeled V's Black Book. Dad's handwritten note, when you're ready to see who they really are. The drive contained Victoria's secret Cayman accounts, Amanda's falsified college transcripts, security footage of Victoria tripping Mom down the stairs. I smiled for the first time in days. Game on. From a burner phone, I transferred $2 million from Victoria's offshore slush fund to an anonymous crypto wallet. Sent Amanda's academic fraud to the New York State Bar. Goodbye, law license. Ordered 50 black roses to Dad's grave with the note, miss me yet? Then I turned on the news. Breaking, Carter family spokesperson confirms Emily Carter presumed dead in hiking accident. Amanda wept prettily for the cameras in Prada Morning Black. I toasted her performance with motel vodka. Act 2 starts tomorrow. Emily Carter, 28, beloved daughter and sister, perished in a tragic hiking accident. I snorted so hard my motel coffee sloshed. Beloved? The only thing Amanda and Victoria had ever loved about me was my eventual inheritance. The New York Times tribute cost $15,000. Charged to my estate, of course. I crumpled the paper. Time to RSVP to my own funeral. Bleached blonde wig, non-prescription blue contacts, a nanny-for-hire uniform from a thrift store. I studied myself in the cracked mirror. With the hunched posture and Midwestern accent I'd practiced, even our family butler wouldn't recognize me. The real masterpiece? The fake agency paperwork showing Maggie Thompson had been hired through Victoria's own preferred staffing service. Thanks for always using the same caterers, stepmom. The Carter brownstone dripped with white lilies and hypocrisy. I carried a champagne tray through clusters of black-clad socialites, catching snippets. Such a quiet girl. That cliff was always dangerous. Amanda looks devastated, poor thing. Amanda herself held court by the grand piano, dabbing non-existent tears with a monogrammed handkerchief. Emily's last text to me said, "I love you." She lied smoothly. I nearly dropped my tray. Then I saw it. The painting over the mantel. Mom's portrait, replaced with Victoria's. My fingers itched for the steak knife on the buffet table. Upstairs in Dad's study, now Victoria's study, I planted 3 bugs. Behind the Rothko print. In the Tiffany lamp. Inside the humidor, Amanda always raided for Dad's Cubans. Back downstairs, I accidentally spilled Pinot Noir on Amanda's Valentino-clad shoulder. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I gushed in my best Iowa twang. She recoiled. "Ugh, you reek of cigarettes. Get out before I—" A voice cut through the crowd. "Amanda, what's going on?" Him. Daniel Whitmore, Amanda's fiancé, and until 6 months ago, my boyfriend. I kept my head down as he draped an arm around her. "Babe, don't stress." He kissed her temple. "It's what Emily would have wanted." The knife felt heavier in my apron pocket. Victoria clinked her flute for silence. "To Emily," she sighed, "taken too soon." Glasses raised, I watched Amanda's reflection in the grand mirror, the way her lips twitched as she mouthed "finally" to Daniel. That's when my burner phone buzzed. The bugs were live. Alone in the catering kitchen, I listened through earbuds. "Stop pacing, Amanda. The medical examiner's paid off." Victoria's voice. "What if she survived?" Amanda's heel clicked nervously. Daniel's laugh. "With those injuries? She's coyote food by now." A cork popped. "To us," Victoria purred. "The real Carter heirs." I slipped out the service entrance, pausing only to leave my wig in the dumbwaiter, right next to Mom's stolen pearls. Sleep tight, vipers. 1 week later, the Carter Foundation Gala. The Met's Temple of Dendur glowed under 1,000 candles, the ancient stones echoing with the clink of crystal and the rustle of couture. The cream of New York society had gathered to honor Emily's memory with a charitable donation. Tax-deductible, of course. I watched from the shadows in a backless black Valentino, my hair dark again, my scars hidden under artful makeup. The steak knife from the memorial had been replaced by something sharper, a USB drive in my clutch containing every damning recording, every stolen document. Amanda took the podium in a white gown. White, the bitch. Her voice trembling with practiced grief. My sister believed in justice. I stepped into the light. Funny? So do I. The unmasking. The gasp that rippled through the crowd was better than applause. Amanda's perfect manicure cracked against the microphone. Victoria's champagne flute shattered on marble. "Daniel?" He went sheet white. "Emily?" Amanda's voice was a strangled whisper. "But you should be coyote food?" I strolled toward the stage, pulling the USB from my clutch. "Let's see what else you said while I was dead." The giant screens flanking the podium flickered to life. Amanda, laughing as she planned the hiking accident. Victoria, bribing the medical examiner. Daniel, joking about my corpse. The room erupted. The fall. Amanda lunged at me, just like I knew she would. I sidestepped, letting her momentum carry her into the podium. Her forehead connected with a satisfying thunk. "Oops." I smiled sweetly. "Guess you'll always be the messy one." Then I turned to the crowd. The Carter Foundation's funds have been misdirected for years. I clicked to the next slide. Victoria's offshore transfers. But don't worry, I've returned every cent. A detective stepped forward. Victoria Carter, Amanda Whitmore, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder. As the cuffs clicked, I leaned down to Amanda's ear. P.S. Dad added a clause to the will. If I die suspiciously, everything goes to the ASPCA. Enjoy prison, stepsister. 1 year later. The brownstone is mine again. Mom's portrait hangs over the mantel. The cliff where Amanda pushed me now has guardrails and a plaque. In memory of the Carters' real legacy, treachery, but better shoes. Sometimes when the press asks how I survived, I just smile. Every Carter knows the best revenge is living well. Then I toast with Daniel's confiscated bourbon. Cheers, bastards. If you'd push Amanda off a cliff for that ending, smash like and subscribe. Comment your favorite revenge moment. Would you have gone darker